Hey everybody, my name is Alchemy. I thought I'd do something different for a talking head video, but needless to say, it is an extremely important thing to discuss and start a conversation over and just talk about it. I'm talking about AI specifically. AI, with the recent upcoming technologies and whatnot, has been inching closer and closer to sounding more realistic to the average listener, and a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen to music, the industry, their careers, and all of that. I've heard a couple of different takes. Some people are excited about what's coming out because, for one, you can harness that technology and streamline a uh, thought process, or like stream your conscience rather, through the means of a prompt, which would probably mean that anybody who is a poet or anybody who is a journalist or exceptional at writing would probably benefit from that. The other means of that is doing some kind of hybrid with a 50-50, or perhaps some percentage where you make something with AI and then you make something out of that. If you're familiar with sampling, you're familiar with resampling, then this is just another iteration or another layer in which to streamline expressing yourself or getting to the bottom of what you want. I think that in a lot of typical genres, there is a matter of, I would say, like beats, right? So trap and hip hop, and even some things with rock, things that have a typical composition, 4 chord arrangements, stuff like that. I think that those guys are going to be challenged with diversifying themselves, the artists specifically, because yes, if you just make, an indie pop song and it's the same verse over and over again, no matter how catchy it is, chances are that's something that, excuse me, AI will replace you over. And I don't mean that as in replace you, because you as a person, as an artist, are irreplaceable. But when it comes into that of competition, right? I guess a great way to draw a parallel would be content creators competing with Splice. So you could be like, yeah, sample packs are dead. I'm not choosing to do sample packs anymore because, for one, there's already billions and billions of sample packs on there. There are way better sounds that you could get just on the sample pack, store or whatever, from Splice or wherever you like to source your stuff. So why would somebody like me make a sample pack? And the answer goes into a more universal concept or theme that I'm actually hoping is going to be the utopian side, or the positive side, about what would happen with the music industry. And that would be, you find success and you make something from yourself, from growing your audience from within. And really, even before AI got here, the Spotify problem, the labels, the exploitation of people being mistreated and all that other stuff has existed forever when it comes into the music industry. But this is just another thing, in my opinion, to be like, hey, if especially if you aren't signed yet, or you aren't, you're trying to break into the industry, it's like doing your own thing and growing your audience from within. The thing about these AI songs is that they are only a simple concept. So, possibly in the future, kind of like Grimes or something like that, you might be able to license, someone's voice and make songs that are, with the same voice or whatever. But even still, it's not ever going to be the same, because nobody can take away like your humanistic expression. And the more that you educate people on that, and the more that you storytell, the more that you begin to express yourself in a way that is dynamic, the more that you are going to be able to combat this whole AI thing. The thing is about corporations, that some people have mentioned and whatnot, is that they're going to take advantage of you anyways. You know what I mean? They're out to probably pay as little as possible and source whatever they can. And that technology has actually probably existed for a very long time. It's just now that the public is only hearing about it, right? But when it comes into writing something for a story, right? You're writing a piece of music to very distinctly describe motion, very distinctly describe things. You know, perhaps AI could do something like that, to where you put a video in and it makes sound to it or something, you know, but even then, that's going to be a really long ways away. And it's better to have a human do it, because they're going to understand the relationship and the connection with the multimedia stuff. Or they're going to understand the relationship between what is supposed to be happening versus what is the director's vision, right? Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, but back to the main point that I have. In terms of music composition, if you make any kind of stuff for the genre that I do, you're probably okay, because the thing is that the amount of nuance, the amount of small choices and decisions, basically if you make producers music, you're going to be okay. Most of the population doesn't listen to that stuff anyways, so what better reason to make music for yourself than anybody? But when it comes into growing an audience, diversifying yourself, of course, but if you build yourself up that way, at least in my opinion, because if you all didn't know, I'm not signed, I've played less than 5 shows in my life, I am a content creator, people are going to start showing up because they want to see the person, you know? Or at least that's what I would hope for. And I think that that's how it is for a lot of people. A lot of people start with, you know, they're doing some kind of skill set or working on something very specific, and then they end up making a connection with that person. And then, you know, you could start a cooking channel or something and people would still follow you because you built that up. So, if anything, I do think that this is a wake-up call to find yourself as an artist. And I don't mean that as in a means of like you need to like rush out or you need to be like, yo, shit. But more so as a means of, hey, this is a great time to really figure out what you're about. It's a really good time to figure out what you enjoy about music and about how you can utilize the technology and the possibilities to create something that nobody else can offer, because it's still possible. The fact that we still have so many issues to solve, it just might not be the game anymore of I'm going to make the next type beat, I'm going to make another trap song that sounds like everybody else, I'm going to make another, you know, if I'm from the 50s, I'm not going to make another do 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 do, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and if you really want to break it down, like all of the chords and melodies and whatnot, like it's all been like, did you guys see that video where that guy copyrighted it so that way he could keep it royalty free? It's all been done before. So enjoy music, whether it's made by a machine or a person. When it comes into you and your personal endeavors, you need to figure out how to make your music into a matter and express it in a way that stands out from everybody else. And I think that's cool because, you know, that to me, that's what it's all about. So I don't know, I'm curious to know what you all think. I'm not really too worried about, you know, the AI thing happening. I put in a neuro drum and bass track to whatever the new thing was called, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and that's fine, and maybe there's a whole song out of it, but you could just tell. You can always tell. It's like, no, that was made by a machine. And then what? What if you want to change it? What if you want to edit it? You know, where are we going from here? A DAW that will just take prompts and then allow you to put all the songs that are whatever within there, and how long is that going to take to get here? And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then that means that you literally have zero issue, zero setbacks of making all of the music that you could potentially hear inside of your head. And if you ever choose to go and do your thing originally as a hobby, you know, or as somebody that likes to perfect a craft, you know what I'm saying? Why would you go buy cheese at the market if you know how to make cheese? You know? Well, because sometimes there's an art to it that isn't the same. And even for humans, you know, even for things that have been replaced or whatever, like it's nothing can beat the human expression of whatever it is that we have to offer, regardless of, I don't know, I don't want to say like no matter what, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head that you can at least tell that it was made by a human. Regardless of if it goes into dystopian or utopian, something that I think would be logical is that you're probably going to start seeing a shift in the market of, I say probably, I don't know, I don't have the answers, but I could imagine AI-based industry with corporations, all that other stuff, artistic human expression, artistry, or whatever, that people actually go and search for that kind of stuff, you know. But I do think that like I said, things need to change. I think that the streaming platform has been more hurtful than helpful to most creators. I think that the ability to be seen maybe has been helpful, but I almost feel like it's been a facade, you know? Like, it's never been easier to get your own music out there, but at what cost? And we need to find a middle ground of figuring out a way for you all for all of us rather, to get our music out, but have a means to where it is in a respectable manner, because nobody knows how much work we put into our tracks. Nobody knows how much time and energy and effort and research and money, you know, that I've put into my own projects, whether it be directly or indirectly or whatever, you know. So tell those stories and talk about something that matters. Make your music matter to you. Don't just be that person that's like, you know, bitches and cars and money and hoes, because the AI world is coming for that. And it's coming fast. So I hope that doesn't seem too negative. There's just some thoughts that I have, and you know, these are all very uneducated opinions. I don't know really much about like the intricacies about what AI is doing. I just know that it's here, it's a thing, it's showing up. Do you need to protect yourself? I have opinions on that, but you know, is it going to stop you from making music? It's not going to stop me. You know, I'll be on stream on Friday making tutorials or, you know, doing whatever because I dig it. And I invite you to come hang out with me and forget about all that shit. And let's just make sounds together, regardless of where it comes from. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my other Talking Head videos if you're into getting into production or whatever. But I don't know, that's my 2 cents.